Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. I'm filming this on April 16th, and we have some major news. A new report indicates the United States military and President Trump quietly, covertly, and secretly are preparing for the invasion and massive military action against the dictatorship of Cuba. Just like we took down Maduro, now we are taking down the commies in Cuba. So I'm going to break it down, as well explain to you what air defenses Cuba has at its disposal, what threat the Cuban military is to the United States of America, and how this invasion, if it happens, if it is ordered, might play out. Before we get into it, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free, huge boost to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please hit the notification bell, all notifications on, you won't miss a thing. And then Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Send me any tips you got. Now let's get into it. So taking Cuba has long been, or getting rid of the communist regime in Cuba has long been a goal for multiple different U.S. presidents, going back to when Fidel Castro took power. President Trump has made it clear, we have some comments from him we're also going to get into, that overthrowing the communist regime is top of his priority list. There was a report that came out shortly after the Maduro raid that said Trump told his people in the administration they have until the end of 2026 to overthrow the government of Cuba. It is now the middle of April, so the clock is ticking. And USA Today publishing a piece saying, exclusive, Pentagon ramps up planning for possible military ops in Cuba. And it says military planning for a possible Pentagon-led operation in Cuba is quietly ramping up in case President Donald Trump gives an order to intervene there, USA Today has learned. Two sources familiar with the order spoke to USA Today on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak to the media. The directives appear to be an escalation of recent tensions between the U.S. and Cuba that began in January when Trump administration curbed oil shipments to Cuba as part of a broader campaign to force sweeping political changes on the communist-run island. So remember, Cuba got most of their oil from Venezuela, almost all of it. They get a little bit from Russia, but they got almost all of it from Venezuela. After we got rid of Maduro, we stopped the Venezuela oil from coming in, the Venezuelan resources, to apply maximum pressure to the regime. In a statement to USA Today, the Pentagon said its plans for a range of contingencies and remains prepared to execute the president's orders as directed. Reports of plans to escalate first appeared on Zito Substack and made rounds on Capitol Hill and across Washington. The United States and Cuba acknowledged they're in early stages of trying to find a way out of the crisis, but it's not clear how much each side is willing to compromise. So right now, according to USA Today, the United States military is planning for imminent military action to target, just like with Maduro, the dictatorship in Cuba. That could be ground operations, it could be airstrikes. We're going to get in again at the end of the video, the air defenses that the Cubans can bring to the fight. But while this is going on, I want to remind people of this. This happened in late March. Mysterious fires started knocking out all of Cuba's infrastructure. You can see some photos here of these fires that no one really could explain. Very similar to in Iran before the war started on February 28th. What happened in Iran? What happened? All these mysterious fires, explosions. I said this has the fingerprints of covert ops, clandestine ops, all over. And now we are learning that you have the same situation unfolding in Cuba. And again, this is what you call setting the table, setting the conditions for whatever is coming next. Now, we've got two clips of President Trump, some comments. Then we got some comments from the leader of Cuba as the crisis intensifies. And then we're going to break down the situation with their air defenses. So let's watch Trump right here.
And Cuba's a failing nation. And we're going to do this. And we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this. But Cuba.
So that is President Trump saying after the war with Iran is over, Cuba might be next. And then right here, further comments. These were back in the middle of March where he was explaining his outlook, which seems very relevant right now, given the news we may be planning for an invasion. I will speed this up slightly for you.
You're talking to Cuba. What do you want to hear from them? And
Well,
what is it?
I am holding Cuba. Cuba's a failed nation. Cuba also wants to make a deal. And I think we will pretty soon either make a deal or do whatever we have to do. We have a lot of great people that happen to vote for Trump. Not that that matters, but we have a lot of great people from Cuba that were violently and viciously thrown out of the country, and worse, their families were killed. And so we're talking to Cuba, but we're going to do Iran before Cuba.
And what is at risk?
And you know, people have been waiting 50 years to hear this story with Cuba. When I left Palm Beach today, there were thousands of people on the road. I'm sure you saw them. And they were from Cuba and from Venezuela, all friendly, waving the flag and waving the American flag. They've been waiting 50 years for what's happening with Cuba. So I think something will happen with Cuba pretty quickly.
So there's President Trump weeks ago saying something will happen with Cuba, and now we know invasion plans are underway. And then right here, we have Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel. He appeared on Meet the Press. And let's watch some of his comments he said about what could happen if there is an invasion.
Our responsibility entails the conviction and the commitment that we're willing to give our lives for the revolution and for the cause that we defend. So for me, that is not a matter of concern. If the time comes, I don't think there would be any justification for the United States to launch a military aggression against Cuba, or for the U.S. to undertake a surgical operation or the kidnapping of a president. If that happens, there'll be fighting and there'll be a struggle, and we'll defend ourselves. And if we need to die, we'll die, because as our national anthem says, it's dying for the homeland is to live. But sometimes they try to personalize the leadership of the Cuban Revolution with a single person. At one point, it was equalized to the commander-in-chief, at some other time with the army general, and now they try to do that with myself. But
so he is saying that this is the leader of Cuba. He is saying that they are all ready to die in a U.S. invasion. Remember, we killed 32 Cuban special forces guys. They're Black Wasps, which is their version of Delta Force, which is, of course, not at all like Delta Force in terms of capabilities, training. They are living on different planets. We killed 32 of them. They were Maduro's bodyguards. They got wiped out in a matter of minutes. That's just the fact of the matter. And now Cuba's leaders saying they are ready to die. And then right here, furthermore, similar comments.
Have no fear. I am willing to give my life for the revolution. Of course, I wouldn't like that to be the attitude of the U.S. government. I think the American people is a sensitive people, and they wouldn't allow, or they wouldn't see with good eyes, that their government, the country, would invade a very small island that does not pose any concern in terms of national security for the United States.
So right there, further comments. Now let's talk about what air defenses the Cubans have. It's not good news for the Cubans. So they have essentially 4 different layers of air defenses, but they're all extremely old, and they will stand no chance against B-2 bombers, F-22s, F-35s, the B-21 Raider. They simply have no ability. So the main one is the S-125. Started in service in 1961. So that is what it looks like right there. This is the S-125. It was Soviet produced. This is their crown jewel of their air defense system right there. It is from the 1960s. They also have the S-75 that came into service in 1957. Another one of their air defense capabilities, also Soviet produced. And they have the 2K-12 Cub, which came into service in 1967, right there. Incredibly old and outdated technology. And then the shoulder-fired Igla, which came into service in 1981, which you can see right there. Those are their air defense options. So their oldest ones are from the 50s, their newest ones are from the 60s, and the shoulder-fired ones are from the 1980s. Of course, the shoulder-fired ones are extremely limited in range. So their air defenses don't stand a chance. If this invasion happens, you would clear out their air defenses, then go in with helicopters just like we did with Maduro. And that's just the snatch and grab. If we land troops, obviously it would be much more than that. So as of me filming this on April 16th, we now know the United States military and President Donald Trump are secretly drawing up plans for imminent and overwhelming military action in Cuba. The Cuban government is vowing to fight to the last man, saying they are all ready to die. And this is going on as the Iran war is still not over yet. We are in a ceasefire phase. So we got a lot of stuff to monitor here. I will continue to keep an eye on it for y'all. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time with more updates.
Okay. Where is image? Okay, maybe this image is clear now. This is not clear, no problem. This is already have in YouTube. Maybe I use this image in YouTube images. Wait. Here it comes. Not forget. Factor tutorial. Not forget. Yes,
না আমি তোমার কালকে থেকে করবো আর কি, বুঝছো? কালকে থেকে করতে পারি। তো এগুলো আমি একটা হোমওয়ার্ক দিয়ে দিলাম, এগুলো করতে হবে।
इंडिया में हर साल करीब 1 मिलियन और हमारे पास ऐसे प्रोडक्शन होते हुए भी कुछ नहीं। समय तो कैंसर का मेन कॉज है वो काम करता है।
थोड़ा जल्दी से
नहीं चाहिए, उसका अलग से बनाना।
कितना
दो रियाल।
2 रियाल दे तो बंद मिलेगा। वो मुदीर किधर गया? हैदरी
हाँ?
मुदीर किधर गया?
कौन सा मुद्दा?
यहाँ बैठ तो क्या नाम उसका?
बुड्ढा वो मोनू क्या अभी?
चलो सिक्का गिरा